What's up guys, Woody here, back with another Flesh and Blood video, and this one's a super chilled one really. It's all about the organised play. Very recently on the Flesh and Blood website, they kind of put out a very nice little infographic, which I'm going to throw up on the screen in a minute for you guys, going through organised play and breaking it down into 4 tiers. Now what do I mean by organised play? Well, it's kind of exactly as it says. It's tournaments or events organised by it's organised by LGSs, but the kind of the layout or the conditions or the criteria of the events is organised by LSS, the developers, and it's passed on to the LGSs, and LGSs or other kind of companies run the events. Now what I want to do in this video is kind of break down why it's nice they've shared this, kind of what each event means. So if you're kind of maybe new to the game, you're thinking, well, okay, where do I want to pitch to? What does an armory event mean over a skirmish, and what's the calling over the armory and things like that. And then also kind of where I want to go to. I'd say I'm new to the game. I'm relatively new to the game in terms of I'm like 4 months in now. I've played a lot of paper since being able to again this week. I managed to get like 15 games in now down my LGS this week alone, which is great. And being back and playing in person has made me hungry to kind of push further. But enough of my kind of ugly mug face. Let's kind of jump over and throw up this infographic so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. So you can see at the bottom they've broken it down as tier 1. Now, if you want any more information on this, it is all over on the website right now. You can literally click on the article and it breaks down the tiers. A lot more detail than what I'm going to be doing anyway. So you can see tier 1 down there. You've got armory event, on demand, and play anywhere. We don't need to go through every single one of those, but they kind of break down what they are on the infographic anyway. Armory events are almost like your, for lack of a better term, Friday Night Magic's kind of weekly events. Open entry. They have a small fee to them based on your LGS. My LGS charges about £5 to enter an armory event. It's the same price to enter a Friday Night Magic. And then you got your skirmishes as well. The skirmishes are a little bit higher. They're kind of just a little bit above armory events. Imagine it that almost every LGS can probably get access to an armory event if they apply to it and they showed that they're going to support the game's community. However, skirmishes are a little bit more limited. Probably say, from what I can look around, about 1 in 10, maybe 1 in 20 LGSs in an area are going to get a skirmish event. So there's actually a map that they provided with this, and you can see on the map now, I'm kind of hovering over Europe, but you can see they're the stores that have the skirmish events available. So the nearest one to me is London. It's about an hour and a half's drive away, whereas my actual LGS is like a 5-minute walk down the road. So it's I will have the travel to skirmish events. Now, skirmish events don't really provide any qualifying points. They do provide XP, which adds to your like online profile for Flesh and Blood, which can be used based on how much XP you've got. It can help you qualify for higher tier events. But it doesn't give you a direct invitation. Like if you go and win 10 skirmish events, it's not going to give you a direct invitation. What you need to do to that is you need to go into tier 2. Now tier 2, you've got Road to Nationals and Pro Quest. And what this is doing, this is literally as it says, Road to Nationals is it's open entry. So again, you don't need to be invited to this. Anyone can enter Road to Nationals. It will be slightly more expensive. Looking at the prices on the website, it's around about £20 is the maximum an LGS can charge for this. And ProQuest is the same. Again, it is open entry. And what these do is these allow you to qualify for the national championships and the calling, which we'll get onto in a minute. Now, the difference between the Road to Nationals and the ProQuest is very, very minimal. That I honestly think it will come down to more of a case of they'll be, depending on regions, like specific and how they want to market them. But they basically do the same. They basically both give you invitations to the higher tiers, as well as better prize support. So the prize support there is going to be, you're going to be playing for probably more rarer cards. Maybe there'll probably be cash prizes bolted on with the Road to Nationals and the ProQuest, and they'll also be a lot more scarce. Where we said before, skirmishes around about 1 in 20 to 1 in 30 LGS is going to be running skirmishes. I can imagine like a Road to Nationals is probably going to be maybe 2 LGSs in the whole of the UK is what I can imagine. Would be running that, probably 1 in London and 1 probably up Manchester area to kind of even it out for the UK. So it's going to be a lot more scarce as event-wise, but it's going to be that kind of the first step on the ladder to get into competitive Flesh and Blood, which then gives you the invitation to Tier 3. Now, Tier 3 gives you national championships. So, national championships are the annual event. They're kind of the big annual one based in your country. That, as they say, they're national. You're playing for some pretty tasty prizes, actually. You're playing for gold cold foil legendary cards, which are pretty damn tasty. And you're also getting a Pro Tour invitation as well if you win. The top 8 will also give you an invitation as well to, or potential invitation to the Pro Tour, depending on your XP and all that as well. Now, the calling is the other side of it as well. I'll be honest, I struggled to work out the difference between a national championship and a calling. Again, I think it's more based on where they are in the world and how they want to brand them and market them. The calling have been running already in New Zealand and in North America. They haven't run in Europe and they haven't run in the UK. However, national championships haven't run at all yet. So I think the calling are more kind of standalone events that happen throughout the year. Like, not very throughout the year, but kind of happen maybe twice a year. I may be wrong on that. And the national championship is the kind of the annual event, the big kind of, you're the national champion of UK or of Germany or anywhere else. And again, placing well or even winning a national championship or the calling gets you into the big ultimate shebang, the Tier 4, the Pro Tour and World Championships. Now, this is exactly what it says it is. It's the Pro Tour. On the website, if you read through their kind of breakdown of it, they definitely want to have, much like Magic, kind of international venues or international events for these. They want to have open world traveling. So the idea that maybe there's a Pro Tour event in America, in the UK, in Europe somewhere, in New Zealand, and the Pro Tour players would potentially be traveling around playing on this Pro Tour leading up to the big shebang, the World Championship. Now, getting to the Pro Tour is a case of anyone can make it. You start at Tier 2, you enter a road to nationals, and you place well then, and you go up and up and up and up and up. So it's a nice way of doing it. It's not just the XP route of go out and grind as many games as you possibly can to get the XP to qualify. There are other ways to qualify as well. Now, the reason I think that's really important is I come from a digital card game background, and I'm going to use a couple of games now to give some comparison to. So Gwent I'll start with. Now, Gwent is a card game where the only way you can qualify for the esports scene in Gwent is by basically grinding the hell out of ladder. And what that instantly does is it gives a massive disadvantage to people who work long hours, because people who work long hours or maybe work weekends don't have the time to be putting in 500-600 games per season, being 4 weeks long, to try and get the win ratio or get the wins under the belt to get into the top 64 to qualify. It's just not feasible. So there's an instant disadvantage. Those who don't work full time or maybe work part time have an instant advantage over those who carry more working hours, which I don't like, and I know a lot of the community don't like that route. And if you look at a game like Mythgard, again, another digital card game, and apologies if people are like, what the hell are these games? I'm just using them as an example. They do the ladder route. However, 50% of their qualification is also done through qualifying through tournaments. They have singular-based tournaments where at the end of the season, anyone can enter the tournament. And if you place one in the tournament, hey-ho, you get entered into the big kind of monthly, the quarterly tournament. And if you win the quarterly tournament, you get a place into the big world championships at the end. And that's the route Flesh and Blood are going. It's not based solely on your XP. And the reason that's nice is, let's say, so I live quite remotely. And in terms of, I don't live in a big town. My local LGS has events going on. The nearest town to me, Brighton, I think there's like 3 LGSs there. Only one of them support Flesh and Blood. So I'm limited compared to, say, someone in London who's maybe got 10 LGSs, all who support Flesh and Blood. They could probably go every single weekend and rack up massive amounts of XP by competing in armory events, competing in skirmishes over and over and over again, compared to myself, who can maybe compete in one skirmish and maybe 3 or 4 armory events, and that's it. So I'm already at a disadvantage compared to the other people. So having the route of, hey, it's open entry to the road to nationals and then you can make it that way is a really nice way of doing it. It doesn't kind of squash out one side of the community. Now, how far do I want to go in Flesh and Blood? Now, this is just kind of me just talking aloud to the community. And when I play card games, I like to get competitive in card games. There's no denying that. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm a good player. I just like to get competitive and I like to push and challenge myself. Now, I don't have any ambitions to get to tier 4 yet, mainly because I don't have the time to get to tier 4. Like, if you want to be getting to tier 4, you need to be playing a lot. And tier 4 being the Pro Tour and the World Championships. And tier 4 isn't even going to be a goal for me, to be honest. My main goal is to get to tier 3. If I can get to a national or a national championship or a calling, that would be ideal. That would be like the pinnacle of where I personally want to get to. So I will be competing in some of these tournaments leading up to it. I'll be playing in a lot of the tier 1 stuff. Again, luckily my local LGS has armory event support. Doesn't have skirmish support at the moment. And skirmish season 2 has just been announced. So I will be going to London to compete in Dark Spears skirmish event. And kind of getting better and learning the game more, playing in these competitive events. And as soon as the Road to Nationals or a ProQuest is announced in the UK, I will be travelling and playing in that event. I'm pretty sure there will be one in London, being the capital of the UK. But I'll definitely go in there and I'll be playing in it. I don't necessarily expect to qualify straight away. And I don't know how many Road to Nationals. I'd imagine there'll probably be 4 Road to Nationals over the course of the year. I will be aiming to playing every single Road to National event. And I would love to place in the top 8 of that Road to Nationals to make it to a Nationals event. I don't have an ambition to win the Nationals event at the moment, but that's my aim. Make it to tier 3 on the organized play ladder they released, the infographic they released, and I'll be very, very happy there. I won't be making it through XP because I just don't have the time to be traveling around to LGSs and playing in as many events as I possibly can. However, I'll be aiming to make it through the more open tournament route and going about it that way. But yeah, that's kind of just a breakdown of the competitive play. It's like I said, I want to do these videos every now and then, like a kind of discussion video, shall we say, of Flesh and Blood, and just talking about different articles they release and things like that. And I'm genuinely very excited that they've announced this. Now, I should say, I didn't mention this at the bottom. Sorry, at the end. That Pro Tour events aren't even happening until 2022. They've said that on the website. They're not even planning them until 2022. However, you can qualify now and you can bank your invitations. So if I was to do really well and get an invitation in 2021, that it wouldn't just lose it. It would carry over and I could redeem that invitation in 2022 when they do start up the Pro Tour events and the World Championships. So yeah, I'm very excited to see how this plays out. The fact that they've got this nice layered system is really, really good. I compare it to Magic because it's kind of the biggest paper card game on the market, right? And as someone who played competitive Magic for a little while, I had no idea what was going on with Magic. Magic's got all these weird convoluted, is this a qualifying event? Isn't it a qualifying event? It's a big event. It's not a big event. This LGS is hosting this big event, but it doesn't actually go towards anything. And it's all very weird. The fact that these have come out and LSS have come out and said, hey, look, this is a tier 1 event. Tier 1s are just organized play for those who are more casual. Skirmishes are competitive, but they're super casual in terms of compared to tier 2, tier 3, and obviously tier 4. And I love how they've released this infographic. They broke it down and it's like, hey, this is what we want to do going forwards. We want to support competitive play. We understand it's important. We understand people want to be the best they can be in our card game. And I think it's great that they've done so. Prizes like golden cold foils as well, guys, for winning national championships and callings. I've never seen a gold cold foil at all, but I can imagine they are absolutely delicious, like beautiful. But anyway, that's my thoughts. What are you guys' thoughts? What do you think about the competitive organised play announcement from LSS? Go over to the website. I'll put a link to it down below. Go check it out and let me know what you think to it. I'm genuinely excited to kind of start chewing the fat on this competitive scene and get into grips with it and start traveling around the UK and playing in these events. I genuinely can't wait for it. So yeah, that's going to wrap this video up, guys. Thank you for stopping by. Hope you have a great day, morning, evening, whatever it is, wherever you guys are. Stay safe, take care, and until next time, goodbye.